This reading is for Abigail. We're going to look at your big six and spend a little time discussing what those mean for you. I like to start with your big three, what we all know as our rising sign, our sun sign, and our moon sign. This is just a good way to touch base on the major influences of your personality. And starting with the ascendant, how you perceive new things and how new people perceive you or how you like to dawn on people. You have a Capricorn rising, so that actually is going to put a cardinal sign at all of the points of your angular houses. So it just gives a well-rounded energy of somebody who is a big picture initiator. So our cardinal energies, we can think of something that we would like to accomplish. And then we kind of have that ignite of energy to get things going. It is the energy of new projects. Traditionally, it's the energy of new seasons. So it leads the way for other to follow. So in the sign of Capricorn on the ascendant, not only are you able to be agile when starting a new project, in Capricorn, you give the air of an authority figure or someone who other people want to take seriously. You're looked at as somebody who speaks with a certain level of respect for others, and then in return also demands respect from the audience or the crowd or the one person that you're speaking with. There's an energy of being grounded and competent. So people with Capricorn risings, in my experience, have this responsibility overload almost. Sometimes people look at you and you might just have always seemed really mature for your age, and you carry a lot of responsibility that might not always be appropriate, but it's because you can handle so much without cracking, and you're very purpose oriented. So if you see that there's something to be done, you will do it. And you're not really the type that complains a lot about it. You might not be the type of person that really asks people for help. Sometimes people don't really know like the extent of things that you're going through in your life because you just do it so methodically that people think, oh, well, like she must be having an easy go of all this because she never complains and she never asks for help. And with the Capricorn rising, that might absolutely not be true. But you're just not the type of person that's going to moan and complain about everything in your life because one, you don't think it's going to help anything. It's not constructive. Capricorn just wants to keep going. Progress is important and keep moving in the right direction is important. And you're not waiting for people to come help you because they might just wind up holding you back or need something from you. And you're going to just, be moving in this forward progress mentality. And I spent time talking about the cardinal energy because your sun is also in the cardinal sign of Aries in the third house, but it's sitting right on the cusp of your fourth house. So when you have a 4-degree difference there, so I would consider that being on the cusp of the fourth house. So in the Aries, that cardinal energy of getting things going, not waiting around for people to do what you want to do, is an energy of not waiting for permission. A Cap rising Aries sun person already has the internal authority, the internal go ahead to get things going that you probably um, haven't, really been the kind of person that seems really insecure and isn't sure what they want to do. You probably know exactly what you want, and you know once you're okay with it, you're going to go for it. On the fourth house, you might be seen in the more private areas of your life that people Know that you're not afraid to be alone if you need to be true to yourself. Aries energy, um, they're not loners, but they're not the kind of person that's just going to be fake it just to be around people either. So you're probably known for being like straightforward and blunt even in your home life, and people know that they can come to you for a honest truth, and you're not going to sugarcoat things for people. And in the family life, with Aries there, sometimes there can be more confrontation. And with your Mercury also in Aries, I could see that being an area of your life that you fiercely love your family and you're willing to fight for them and you're willing to fight with them if need be. This is not an area where you are holding a lot in. This is an area where you're going to show your cards, because the people that mean the most to you, you want them to know who you really are. And you kind of like to call people out on their crap too. Like, let's keep it real here in the family. And a lot of your energy is there because you care deeply for your family, and you might be a more private person. So when I look at your chart, the bottom part here, which we actually would call the northern hemisphere, if the view of the chart is a little different, but um you have most of your energy down there, with the exception of your one-on-one relationships in the seventh house. So I would say that you're kind of more of a private person in general. And again, this isn't an introverted energy necessarily, but this is a life where you don't want everybody in your business all the time. And you might just be more comfortable in the house or home, close level of people that you already have relationships with. Maybe you're not the kind of person that always wants to be a socialite out and about trying to climb the career ladder in the public eye. Maybe you work from home, or you would like to. Maybe you spend a lot of time um, creating things from the home level, or working on your personal creative ventures. Maybe you don't need to do a lot of collaboration with others for how you express yourself. I say that too because now moving into your moon in the sign of Pisces, it's more of a creative, gentle energy that kind of combats your sun. So when you have an Aries sun but a Pisces moon, it makes me think that there is a more emotional side to you. The fire and the water together makes for somebody who could feel very alive, but and also very introspective and reflective. So there's a lot of depth to you that people will know if they're really close to you. And in the second house, it can just mean when the moon is in the second house, sometimes there's changing feelings about how you see yourself. So sometimes there can be this journey, a more private, personal journey of learning your personal values and belief system, and experimenting with your own self-esteem and your own self-worth. It's kind of a journey to give yourself grace. When you have that cap rising and the Aries moon, there's a lot of pressure that you might put on yourself to excel in all your goals, to be the best, a competitive edge. And that's how you base your value system on yourself is, am I number one? Did I crush that goal? Was I the best at whatever I was doing? And here Pisces moon in the second house is saying, actually, I'm so much more than that. I'm a very deep, sensitive person who knows that my value is not in what I have accomplished. It's in my personality and who I am and who I love and how I show that love. So see, Pisces almost gets like poetic and like artsy about it. Like they're just it's a very feminine, gentle energy. And it's something that when you really sit with yourself, you can really feel that. And in the moon, it's just a more changing current flowing energy. So that means sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not there. Sometimes you can really be in touch with that warm side of yourself and show yourself that you're amazing. And then sometimes when the moon changes and you get to feel more self-pity or self-doubt or unworthiness, the message here is just to go with it and ride it out like a wave, because it will always end and be renewed, just like the phases of the moon. Those feel any of those feelings of self-doubt or unworthiness will change again. And in the sign of Pisces, it's saying in all of the phases and all of those times that you want to judge yourself on your progress or perfection or lack thereof, to do it gently and unconditionally love yourself and form this really deep reserve of self-esteem and self-worth. And that's where you will feel emotionally secure. Okay, so that was the big three. Let's talk about, well, we talked about Mercury a little bit. So when you have Mercury right next to the sun like that, that's very common, a conjunction. Mercury never goes too far from the sun, but they are technically in different houses. So the sun is in the third house. I kind of pushed it into the fourth house because it's right on the cusp there. But it makes me want to do separate them when I'm talking about Mercury. Mercury in the fourth house opposing your MC. I didn't really want to get into aspects too much here, but since yours is kind of right there looking at me, it's just this, this challenge between publicly correct and saying what you mean. When you have a Libra up at the MC, your highest vocation or professional ambitions might be one of justice or fairness. You might be really interested in like a one-on-one ability to help somebody find peace or justice in their world. You might be an example of balance and harmony at your highest self. And you might be a very um, educated person who might be a great mediator or ability to compromise with people and speak the truth in a peaceful way, and very cooperative energy there. But with your sun and Mercury in Aries in the fourth house and on your IC, it just is like actually, on your foundational level, you care a lot about being direct and honest and straightforward. And, how do you find the balance there of being this more impulsive nature versus at the calling part of your chart to be someone who helps people compromise and find a middle ground? So I think the challenge here is that the Aries Mercury is very inspiring, and you can use that energy in your gentle approach to find peaceful relationships and share a message of justice and harmony with the world when you take a breath before you speak, because you have a lot more opportunities and a lot more of a message to give the world at large when that impulsivity side is a little bit more dimmed, so that you can share your thoughts, because Libra is an air sign and there's this thought and communication to bring connection to others, and it pulls you out of your home life and your private life, and it brings you into the public eye at a higher version of yourself. So you can use the Aries energy to really excite people and inspire people and make them feel passionate, but you're going to do it in a way that the goal is more Libran of cooperation and um, a partnership energy. So where it's not just you against the world, it's you with the world. And what can we do to make things fair for both of us? That was a little side note. But anyways, so going to back to the third house with your sun, I just wanted to say, when you look at the sun, you can find your identity that way the fastest. If you're feeling off balance, where do you go? You go to the sun for a quick fix. It's in Aries in your third house. So with your peers, siblings, neighbors, people who you interact with every day, you can really get in touch with who you are in those situations when you're being your authentic Aryan energy, and it'll make you feel more aligned with yourself. So with that Libra Mercury opposition that you have where you kind of struggle between, your public image not always being in line with your more relaxed home version of yourself, the sun says, okay, well, when I'm feeling off balance, I need to, you know, take a day off from work. That Libra energy takes a lot from me. So I can just be on my home level with my siblings or my neighbors or my friends and just let my opinions fly freely. And then I feel a lot more like myself. All right, so let's move on to Venus, your love language, and how, what you're attracted to, what you find exciting. So for you, you have Venus in the fifth house. So you love love. You love romance in the sign of Taurus. You can really open up to somebody who you feel like is going to be around for a while, who's dependable. You might yourself, when you really fall in love with somebody, look at the security that they bring you and that you can offer them. This loyalty is one of your strengths in love, your ability to weather the course, whether good or bad. You really have that like sickness and in health stability there. Your partner might see you as someone who they can really count on, and they can really get comfortable with you and enjoy like the simple pleasures of life with you. You really, you're kind of like that wine and dine in love, a good movie and a good dinner, maybe being in nature with your loved one is just really like a romantic experience for you, and you really want that in life. Your Venus is saying that's a way that you express yourself, because the fifth house is all about self-expression and creative energy, and how you do that is in these love affairs. If you have children or you're thinking about have children, you might have a deep love connection with them where they make you feel um, at peace with yourself, and they bring you a sense of balance to your life. If it's not actual children, it can be something that you have created. If you're into artwork and in the sign of Taurus, it could be something that you really like helps ground you. It could be something even like garden or having house plants. Being involved in nature is very Taurus Venus energy. As people will have Taurus Venus, like love like scented candles, and they always have like their house always smells really nice. Something's cooking. There's something sensual that you connect with. It's like this knowledge you have of what's gonna smell good, feel good, taste good. All that energy to really create these expressions of yourself and put other people in like this sensual heaven. So moving on to Mars, we have Cancer, Mars in the seventh house, and I'm glad it's there because looking at your seventh house, you have so much seventh house energy. I was like, we have to talk about this. So in the seventh house, you have almost what I would call a seesaw chart, but it's not really because you do have outside energy, but you have a lot of energy in your first and seven, and you're in Aries, so that is significant. So there's a pull between who you are. This is the this is the theme of your chart. It's a mini reading, but your chart is just so smoothly going here that it's just worth talking about it all, I guess. So the first house is me, and the seventh house is us. Look at your IC is you, and your MC is us. You have your south node in us and your north node in me. I mean, you are just fully on this like journey to experience yourself and another person. So your chart is going over that same theme over and over. Do I stay at home and be true to myself? Or do I go out into the public to really use my gifts, but maybe in a less honest way? Not honest, that's not the right, not that you would be untruthful, but in a more filtered way, compromising way. Do I work one-on-one with people? Do I find that romantic partner? Do I merge myself, my wants with someone else's wants? Do I become considerate of their needs? Or do I just work the grind in my own way and do it myself because I know I can? Lots of things here going on. But with Mars in the seventh house, you have a lot of energy towards another person. And the seventh house can be like a marriage partner, or it can be a business partner, it can be an enemy. It's all about how somebody else comes into your life to show you the things that you are not, but what you want to experience. So you yourself might not be like a super hot-headed Aries like other people. A lot of Aries come off like very bold and brash, but with your Pisces moon and now the Mars in the seventh house, it makes me think maybe you're more emotional, but maybe not like so extrovertedly loud and like in your face. You might have a little bit more watered down, as we would say, because your Pisces moon and your Cancer Mars, some of that might be inside. You might have a lot of feelings, but you might not always be the first one to tell their opinion and burst through the door with that Capricorn rising in the water. It doesn't sound like it would be so brash. So I could see then that now you're learning through other people in your life how to be assertive and how to get your opinion across and your needs across, but doing it in a way that still makes people feel comfortable and safe. So that's what that Mars means to me. You're wanting to be assertive and direct, but in a way that other people still feel like they are cared for. That's what that Cancer Mars means to me. So to do that, you might have to encounter a lot of people who have this Martian energy about them, which can come into conflict, or yeah, conflict's probably the best word. It doesn't have to be brutal, but it can be uncomfortable. But you're trying to figure out how to express that direct energy of yours without really making enemies or having this, bully feeling about you. But you do have that energy and you need to release it, and you want to know, well, how can I do that and still have peace with people. So I think that's where these Cancer Mars people come in your life, and they help show you that you can be direct and authentic and completely in control of what your opinions are and who you are. And you can do it in a way that still keeps people moving and gets you towards where you need to be going and what you're doing. But you can do it in a way that we all still want to get along after this. Um, Going against your first house, your north node's in your first house. So that is actually where your soul wants to grow. So your first house is all about you, your style, your relationship with yourself, how you portray yourself, what you do for your physical body, and how you take up space in your own world. And look, at your north node wants to go there. Your south node in Cancer already knows how to be focused on somebody else and to put their needs first. And in the sign of Cancer, you might have been, I am an evolutionary astrologist, so I just think I go to past lives with South Node. This could be early in life too, though. It could be an energy that you were already almost like maternally caring for someone in your past life or early in life. Maybe early in this life, you took on a more mature role with that Capricorn rising and a South Node in Cancer. I could see you being really almost like the parent child, like were you the one parenting your parent and then missed out on the ability to go through childhood the more traditional way? Or maybe it could be in a past life where you were a mother and you actually had children that you put them first. But in this position, it makes me think that you have already experienced what it's like to put someone first and in a selfless way so that they could thrive and grow, and you would put yourself as an afterthought. So now in this first house, this life, your soul really is like, I want the human experience of what it's like to really be my own person. Like, I really want to know this body and this spirit of what I am. And I'm going to spend time and I'm going to ask the universe to help guide me to learn who I am. So you have a lot of outer planets in your first house because those are there to help, those synchronicities in your life, those people, the places, the events, everything that happens that shapes who you are is because your soul really wants these experiences of the self. So these planets going to bring you back into your own self over and over again because that's what you're asking for. And in the sign of Capricorn, you really want to master that. You want to experience yourself through many changes and growth so that your soul leaves this body this time thinking, wow, really, I nailed that. Like I mastered that human experience. I know who I was. I didn't give my energy overflowingly to other people that I didn't know who I was. I spent enough time caring, loving, and knowing myself that I really feel like I understand now what it's like to be in my own human body. And so there's this balance here that you're trying to know because of course as humans we still encounter partnerships and we care about people and we want to make, some type of legacy for what we did here. So that's why this energy keeps repeating over and over in your chart because the goal for you is still the Libra MC that wants to have this balance in their who they are. The prize for you is when you have that harmony in your life. You've accepted both sides of you. You've accepted that you're the lover and you're the individual. You've accepted you're the child, but you also have a place in the world. And you've accepted that you can be a little bit bold and competitive, but you also want to cooperate and have harmony. You can see now the Libra at the top is that your ultimate self sees the duality in all of that and embraces it, accepts it. And that's what makes you have this like really wonderful balanced perspective to show the world the ultimate human experience might be seeing, the shadow and the light side and then living that way with no apologies. So I just think it's a really beautiful message. And since we've already talked about almost everything else, just looking real quick at your aspect here, you have a grand trine in water that jumps off the page between your Pluto, Moon, and I want to say your Chiron. So you have all of these water emotional gifts. So a grand trine is just this big blessing. So, okay, you obviously wanted to tackle some pretty heavy themes in this life. So, this grand trine comes in and says, you know what? Well, I'm going to make you very able to be in touch with your emotions. And I'm going to give you this great gift of letting things go so that you can heal and you have an ability to heal others and flow with the current of the universe. So when you have a grand trine in water, it always is to me as yeah, maybe things aren't always easy for you, but you have an ability to flow with it and trust. Like you have this deeper sense of this is all for something and things might be a little rocky sometimes, but I can trust that this is for something. It's like this deeper feeling of like hope and knowing, especially with that Pisces moon. Like there's this ability to just know that the universe has you and you can trust that. And like everything will be for the greater good and it'll go the way it's supposed to. And you're deep down okay with that. All right, Abigail, we got lost in your chart, but I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you think or if you have questions. I'm going to stop it here. Thanks so much for being part of this page.